Hi, we're going to take a minute now to look at Miss Kim Russell's second grade class and her units. And again, look at that lens of how she decided to share her work and what she decided to have students work on. If you come down to here, you see the little castle there. This is Miss Kim Russell's fall unit, where the students were writing for a variety of purposes, and she decided to focus in on writing fiction. She knew her students really loved reading fiction. They had engaged as readers in that genre, and so she decided to do a mini unit on writing fiction as well. And they each published their own book. You can see them sitting up here on the table when they had their in-class publishing party. And I'll just do this full screen so you can get the full experience. Again, so she has walked us through her units and how she got her students to their final copy. I love here these drafts and how much action is happening here, and these arrows and additions. You can just tell how much time and work over days went into this writing. And documenting this in this way is, again, showing that important process, that it doesn't look perfect and neat from the very beginning, that all authors have this art that they're creating and this messy process that they engage in as they craft things, pieces of work for an audience and to go public with them. Here, this student has labeled her different characters. They've used a lot of the same language like we see in fiction books, like one day there was. And she's outlined some of her actual mini lessons here. She picked specific books from the class and then picked out sentences that were great mentor sentences for her students. That was one thing she noticed a need for, was just reading and paying close attention to really well-crafted sentences so that her students could then apply that author's craft to their own writing. So she's got a few different examples of her lessons here that I hope you'll take a look at later. So she celebrated again here at their holiday party. They sold their books for their first time to share with an audience. And I loved that idea of sharing it at a holiday party. She knew the families were already coming, the students were already ready. Also, we know that holiday parties can sometimes feel a little bit chaotic maybe, or disconnected from the rest of the year. And this helped her celebrate really this work that the kids had done and bring a little bit of exciting academics into the holiday party in a way that really helped them see that learning is fun, that this is exciting, that this is something that we want to read. I mean, her kids were excited to do this. And then Miss Russell paired with the Bastrop Library. She was actually the first of our team of teachers to pair up with the children's librarian, Miss Bonnie, and all she had to do was bring in a box of books, and the librarian set up the display. The librarian printed out this nice sign then that could explain that the students had written their own original works of fiction and they hoped that readers would read and enjoy. I loved hearing from the librarian that there was a private school nearby who had come and just sat on the floor with these books and read them when they were there on a field trip one day. And we all also went to go see the books, our team, and read them there. A lot of Miss Russell's kids were able to stop by the library to read their books as well. And having these out in a community space, especially displayed there right along with other works of fiction, I think just really raised that level of the kids feeling like they had important work to do as authors. And again, their choice in illustrations, their choice in topics, the ownership that they took over the writing really demonstrated to readers that authors do not write to prompts that they're given, that authentic writing is when an author just chooses their topic and it has control over their craft. And the teacher is there then to guide them and give them tips as a co-member of the writing community to help them to make their message more clear for the reader. Here's just a few examples. You can see how those illustrations, the student decided to have chapters in his book. And here is Miss Russell at the library with her students' work. I'm going to look now at Miss Russell's second unit of study in the spring semester, and her students wrote poetry at this point, and they knew that their poetry was going to be shared with a class in Peru. They paired with a class in Peru that they met through Skype and Buncee Buddies. The Buncee Buddies program is like a pen pal program that pairs classes across the globe with each other to have an authentic audience for their work. And so again, she has here how she went through and helped her students to really analyze author's craft or poet's craft of a variety of poetry. She made sure to show them all different kinds of poems so that students could choose which varieties of poems and types of poems really fit their topics and their purposes the best. She's got some of her mentor text here and some of the specific poems that she pulled out to teach from. And it even shows where some of her students went with their writing after those mini lessons. And then they got on to Buncee, and I loved talking with Miss Russell about how independent her students were using edu.buncee.com to publish their poetry. And then they sent those poems to another class in Peru. And what I love about this is how excited, look at this face, how excited they were to Skype with another class. They were learning about other cultures. And also, this brought more attention to the classroom. It was really an event and an excitement. And so parents and administrators and other colleagues paid attention to what it was that Miss Russell was doing. And she's had the opportunity then to share that work with more people on her campus to inspire them to do their own. If you keep going through this slideshow, you can see the poems that her students wrote. You notice that a lot of them are free verse with some great words in there, 5 senses, and I just love some of the alliteration that I see as well. The color. She had conversations with them about how to craft digital texts and think about how to have a nice balance of images and text and the colors. So again, Miss Russell, just like the other teachers in our group, we're not just thinking about audience for their students for the sake of empowering students, although that is an absolutely important part of this work, but also how could she share her work more broadly to advocate for this work on her campus and in her schools and globally, that this is the type of process writing that really we know builds the most motivated, engaged, effective writers.